content is for informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained on here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer by Draper, Goren, Holm, or any third-party service provider to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever.
Boom! We are live.
What's going on?
We said that I've been doing like LinkedIn videos and live streams like this and different podcasts in different form for like years and years now. And we said we were going to try to cut together a video of me just going boom at the beginning of every single one, because there's like probably 15 minutes worth of it, but that would be really awkward and weird.
We need to piece a bunch of videos of you going boom, 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 and just make that the intro video. A minute of boom.
I bet you though, we should, but I bet you they'd be like too similar. It's like those studies that like check on people, and like people are such creatures of habit that they, oh no, it's saying that it's having a problem going to LinkedIn, and that's like the main spot. We gotta see what's going on here. Having trouble streaming to LinkedIn. It's on LinkedIn's end. Double check to see if it's there. We can post something there telling people to go to YouTube.
Through LA Blockchain Summit?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
I'll just post a link to the YouTube on the LA Blockchain Summit LinkedIn. But yeah, I was just saying that there's these studies that followed people and found out that in the morning when they brush their teeth like the exact same number of strokes every single time. So I bet you when you piece those things together, they'll be like weirdly, eerily, creepily similar. So, okay, while we're getting started, welcome to What the Block, everybody. And I'm Alon Goren. I'm one of the founders of Draper, Goren, Holm. And Adam.
I'm Adam. I'm going to say, I mean, you want to introduce me? I can introduce myself.
I'm going to introduce you. Adam Levy works with us at Draper, Holm. He is an integral part of the team. He runs and manages our events. He helps on everything that we do. And you now know him publicly from also being the host of Blockchain News every Tuesday night. So throw this up here to tell you that Draper Goren Holm does a ton of events on Tuesday nights. We do Blockchain News on Friday mornings. I do What the Block here. And our next big event is the Global DeFi Summit on June 24th. But we'll get into all that stuff. I'm going to also give a major shout out to Lunar Crush, one of our portfolio companies, because like I said on Twitter earlier today, they're like on the verge. They're about this close to hitting 100,000 followers on Twitter. And I think that's going to be a future measurement of if you're really a crypto OG, if you really were in crypto early, you were a follower of Lunar Crush before they had 100,000 followers. And today's probably the last day to be that. So you better go follow them on Twitter at Lunar Crush. But Adam, how you doing, man?
Dude, feeling good. I'm kind of surprised and shocked with what the market's doing right now. And it's stressing me out a little bit, but not because I'm over leveraged or anything. But it's Elon Musk tweeted some crazy shit that dumped or supposedly dumped the market. But I think it's just a perfect opportunity to buy the dip and to keep going. But other than that, I'm feeling good, man. We had a good blockchain and booze. Lunar Crush came in clutch. We were supposed to have Gary V. He had his big drop. It didn't work out last minute. So the Lunar Crush guys gave in. So put up their logo one more time. Let's try to help them get to 100K because they were the real MVPs this week with making a lot of the content possible. So shout out to John, Joe, and the entire team.
I'm shaking my whole computer by hitting this 8,000 times.
I'm gonna shake my computer too to create some effects here. Other than that, living the dream. Another day in paradise. That's what I tell everyone. But yeah, man, What the Block. I'm excited for this What the Block because typically we're always showcasing our portfolio companies, but this time it's all about us. It's all about Draper Goren Holm.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that we're just going to end up going through all of our portfolio companies because I'm always, talking to people about it and stuff. And really the best way to judge us is the portfolio. And it's also easier on our end to not be totally bragging and full of ourselves to just point at these other smart people we're lucky enough to work with and be a part of. I was looking through, oh, where did I go? Oh, here. Now this graphic stinks now because it shows LinkedIn and we have problems with LinkedIn. So participate live is what I was about to say. If you guys comment wherever you're on, if you're on Facebook, if you're on Periscope, if you are watching on YouTube, you comment, ask questions, and Adam and I can answer them live. So do it. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm seeing some people responding to the thread on Twitter, but that's not showing up on here. So make sure you're in the actual chat of the video and stuff, and we'll bring it on the screen.
Dude, for starters, let's do for starters really quick, because we always give a quick brief about us. Let's go in depth about Draper Goren Holm, what we do, and how community focused we are, and the things we try to achieve.
Yeah. So you know, it's interesting, right? So I was actually just thinking about this the other day because I was talking to David Blesnak from Total, and David is the CEO, founder of Total. And they are our first portfolio company that Joseph and I sort of did in a formal way. And that was really interesting to think about. And I went back to try and find, I'm you know this, and a lot of people following know this, they'll see it on Twitter and in different threads, but I'm a nerd for Google Photos, and there's probably not one person in our industry that I can't put in my own Google Photos and find pictures of from our various events over the years. And I did a crazy job. Every event that we do, we take the professional pictures and I dump them into my personal Google Photos so I could index them and get really nerdy about it. Because it's really helpful when you are doing something like this and you want a picture of Adam. And I've got pictures of Adam at the 2018 CIS, in Los Angeles, that, sitting at the laptop, manning the booth, right? And stuff like that. So I looked up pictures of David Blesnak from the first conference that we met him at, and I was trying to go through some stuff, and I started realizing there's, what year is it right now?
In 2021.
2021, right? So almost in 2022. It's 2021, and Joseph and I have been doing the conferences now for 6 or 7 years, and since 2017 we switched it to crypto only focused, and then in 2018 we started getting portfolio companies. It feels like we just started yesterday, in some respects. Crypto is weird, right? So oh sweet, we got some good questions coming in already, so that's great. So it feels like it happened overnight in some respects, and then crypto, we joke about, is dog years, right? Every month is 7. And we, I was looking at it, I was holy crap, we did the deal with Total in 2018. And actually at that Joseph and I doing the deal at a previous fund that I was at, I actually led an investment in Total. And so I was trying to do the timeline math and realize how long it's been, right? And because sometimes it's man, we're just getting started, and sometimes okay, the dominoes are just starting to fall, but how many years did it take to get to this spot? So anyway, it was really interesting to think about timing of all this stuff, but that's also a good way to explain how we got to where we are and what we do. We started by just building a cool conference for the space and for crowdfunding and for online investing that was different from all the rest that existed at the time. At the time, if we went to a conference about the subject, it was just all the service providers, the people who, the accountants and the lawyers and the companies that were providing products. And Joseph and I were in that category for a long time. We are startup entrepreneurs and we had our own companies. But we would meet each other at those conferences, and we were where the hell are the people that actually invest in these deals on the internet? Where are the companies that are actually raising money on the internet? None of them were at these conferences. It was just the accountants and lawyers. And so that's why we created our conferences. We wanted to hang out with those people. That's what we were passionate about. We wanted to meet the people doing the cool shit. And so we created that conference, and our first conference, it was called Crowd Invest Summit. It was the world's biggest crowdfunding conference on our first one, which wasn't that hard. The second biggest conference was 500 or 600 people every year in Vegas. Ours had a couple thousand people at the LA Convention Center. It's pretty awesome, but it showed that there was a huge need for it. And at a certain point in our careers and what we did, Joseph and I finally realized that we need to be doing these deals ourselves.
Right.
Because,
Independent.
whoop, that was it.
Yeah.
But like the what we realized is like we created this conference. The conference wasn't a money-making thing. It was because we were like super passionate about it. We wanted to do it, and we never wanted to extract. Like we were talking about bringing people into mainstream adoption in crypto. It didn't make sense for tickets to cost hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars if the whole point of this industry is to create a level playing field for everyone to participate. So instead of squeezing every nickel out of the attendees and squeezing every nickel out of the people participating, we had it sort of paid for by sponsors. And then we just grew the industry just out of the love of the industry. But when we did it, we got to meet awesome companies like Total. And we'd meet them and then we'd be like, wait, shouldn't we be doing something with them? Shouldn't we get something out of it? In 2017, every company was trying to give us tokens and stuff. And a lot of them were not great companies, so we didn't want to do that. And after kind of learning and understanding the way things work, we realized like, here's the model. We're going to invest in the coolest and best companies we could find while doing this. And then we can use that conference to help them and promote them and do all that stuff. And then over time, we'll build a cool portfolio. And then by the time we did 2, 3, 4 companies, all of a sudden we realized like, this is what we want to do. And then we really doubled down and made it our full-time job. We created at the time, we called it Goren Holm Ventures, because at first it was totally private. Like it was just the LLC. We called Goren Holm Ventures because we needed an LLC to do it together. And then all of a sudden when we decided to make it public, it was a little bit weird. If we knew from the beginning it was going to be public, we probably would have named it something like cooler. But we did that. And then later we joined the Draper Venture Network, added the Draper name to it. And then it got, it grew up. You trying to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to share because these pictures are like very iconic and really symbolize like the beginning of what Goren Holm Ventures was, and then later manifested into Draper Goren Holm Ventures. Looking at these pictures, they're kind of blurry, but I remember I did the first two crypto invest summits in the first LA blockchain week with you guys before going to Europe. And the conference that you guys did when I was in Switzerland, that's when you guys announced Goren Holm Venture. And I was like, so cool, they're launching a fund. Like it makes so much sense with everything that you can do in the conference. And I think this was the image that you guys actually announced, Goren Holm Ventures, and you guys plastered the logo everywhere. And then shortly after, it became Draper Goren Holm.
Yeah, there was one particular conference where we just look up Crypto Invest Summit maybe, right? Yeah. Because what's really funny is there's one particular conference where we decided this is it. We're going to announce that like this is the thing that we're doing, and all of a sudden we started throwing our logo on everything. Like if you look even at that, like this, the one that's a CIS right above where you're at right now, if you see the stage, that purple stage above Wozniak over there, or that one that you're on right now, click on that, right? We didn't have, like we weren't planning on DGH or Goren GHV, whatever we were calling it at the time, being like the full center of attention yet. We're still doing it kind of low key. I'm getting these weird things. Hopefully we're still live. Well, we'll take this recording afterwards. So like we still hadn't like fully embraced doing it that way and putting our logo on everything. But then there was one particular time, and I'll actually let everyone behind the scenes. We were already in a verbal agreement with Tim Draper to rebrand to DGH, but the lawyers were being slow and the deal hadn't been completely done. So we had all of these slots because we were going to announce Draper Goren Holm at the. That's an awesome graphic. Who made that graphic? I like that.
It takes
I think maybe Decrypt or something. Oh no, the Coin Republic.
Awesome. The Coin Republic, yeah.
So like we actually had all these slots. There's 1 year on the stage. You'll notice where the our GHV graphic is like 1,000 times on the backdrop of the stage. It's hilarious. And it was because we were going to actually announce Draper Goren Holm there. and the deal hadn't been quite done yet in terms of legal stuff. And so we put our Goren Holm Ventures logo on there, which is really awesome. And it was sort of like our planting our flag in the ground and doing the whole thing. It was really fun. But yeah, so we, going back to us, right? We invest in early stage companies. Like, we want to meet them before everyone else. That's like the superpower we get with our conference, because a lot of companies want to launch at the conference or want to promote themselves at the conference, and they'll come to us a month or 2 or 3 before the conference and say, hey, we're doing something that's stealth right now. We want to announce it at the conference. And so we go to those groups that we like and we go, hey, well, why don't we do an investment? Why don't we do a deal? Because we want to be first, right? It's if you learn anything from Coinbase going public and all this stuff, is that people were bragging on Twitter about getting into investing in Coinbase when they had $1 billion valuation. Now think about all the people who got in at the pre-seed stage and stuff like that. Those are the types of returns that venture capitalists get that return their whole fund and then some. That's like a sometimes once in a lifetime kind of investment. Now, it's only those once in a lifetime kind of investments when you're able to get into them at the early pre-seed stage. And so from an analytical, nerdy data standpoint, that's a good reason to do it. But from our own personal standpoint, like, we're startup guys. Like, we're more startup guys than we are investors. So that's where we can add the most value, and that's where we like to hang out. That's why I'm on Twitter posting random crap that I do, and because we're actually building stuff ourselves and working with our portfolio companies and doing things like that.
Great story, man. It's a really great story. So how many portfolio companies are we at right now?
I think the number is 22 at the moment, which is really awesome. We're doing docs with one right now that we've been working with for a while, and it's awesome. Oh, I just got a tweet related to Lunar Crush with somebody said their bot, which is one of my favorite things in the world, is coming on 10,000 followers, which is pretty awesome. But okay, see, let's add this to the stream. Let me switch to here. So I'm wondering, there might be some that aren't public yet too, that aren't even on here, but we're at about 22 portfolio companies, and we're growing, every day. It's really exciting. I got a question for you. What portfolio company? We've been talking a lot about Lunar Crush, so let's remove Lunar Crush from the question right now. But you joined us full time a year ago now, a year and a little bit ago, right? Right. You've met all of these companies, you've worked with all these companies. Which one at this moment are you most excited about, other than Lunar Crush, because we just talked about this?
Yeah. I'd say PrimeDAO, and PrimeDAO and Superworld. Honestly, those are my 2 favorite ones at the moment, with all due respect to everyone else. But I think because
I purposely worded it to be what you're excited about right now, so you wouldn't have to play favorites.
No, I mean, my excitement is based off my favoritism too, right? And the reason being is because I was very hands-on with PrimeDAO and also with Superworld to a certain degree. And yeah, I'm very excited. PrimeDAO, because they're really taking the whole concept of DeFi, which is the yields are very unsustainable. The interfaces are pretty shitty, and it's just not approachable by the everyday person. They're taking under their responsibility and under their belt to solve that. And they're implementing different DeFi metrics and different DeFi safety ratings and stuff like that. And different really cool interfaces and products that really help mitigate that problem and solve that problem. Superworld, because it's super futuristic and it's really betting, it's like such a long-term bet to see if the industry is really going towards purchasing physical plots of land to monetize in virtual reality or augmented reality. And that's just that's as futuristic, I feel like, as you can get. and as creative as you can get. And plus, they're doing very, very well. So yeah, those two are my favorite at the moment.
Yeah, Prime DAO, what's really, really interesting and fun about Prime DAO too is that I obviously we're nerds for this stuff, and they came, the idea originally was doing DeFi responsibly and stuff like that, and all of the products that put that together. But the kind of research that they've put into the DAO to DAO relations stuff is huge. And if you think about almost all of this stuff, right? On one hand, on one side, there's the security token companies that are doing security token stuff like Vertalo, like Onera, all these guys, Symmetria, and then on the other side, there's the DAO stuff and all that. And then there's other things that are utility tokens, DeFi tokens, all this different stuff. And when you think about all these things, they are, here, I'll go back to that since you're sharing your screen. But if you go back to that, all of these things equal completely reinventing business models and ownership models, right? So if we are completely reinventing business models and ownership models, then thinking about how a DAO operates and runs is really, really important. And they took it to a different level. There's tons of people thinking about how a DAO will, thinking about how a DAO can run and the representation of each voter and all of these things. But what they took it to the new level of, they showed a normal large organization in the real world, and they show how it's spidered out in the ownership and management and boards, and Toyota Motors owns this and that. And it sparked this thing in my mind, because my first job as a teller at a bank was at Union Bank of California. And when you think about that, it's like, oh, that sounds like an old California institution, right? Union Bank of California. My first day there, I realized it's owned by Mitsubishi Group. And I was like, what the hell is this, right? But if you think about that, every company or those big conglomerates are like that. They spider out with ownership everywhere. And they had a good point that that's how organizations, sort of grow and run. And DAOs need to understand how they're going to work and partner with other DAOs and have ownership in other DAOs and say in other groups. And they started doing research on the DAO to DAO relations. And that stuff is just so awesome in that it really is the future models, right? And you can look at Vertalo and say, okay, cap tables on the blockchain, really, really important. You can look at Symmetria and what they're doing and all the security token stuff. Think about that in equity. And then in governance and DeFi, there's that. But then in the middle, there's also the utility tokens and completely reinventing the business models of rewards and on all of that. That's happening as well. And that's just, I think, such a huge, exciting thing. Then the next thing you were talking about was Super Bowl. That's just crazy fun, but also you're right, futuristic. So I think it also takes the metaverse stuff and adds a different level of emotion to it when you tie it to the real world. Everybody, when they go on the Super World for the first time, starts searching for plots of land available that are really meaningful to them. And there's an actual more there you are. There's an actual more emotional aspect to it when you do that. I don't know. I immediately searched the local. You're going to Times Square, right? And there's Times Square, South Korea shows up first. That's cool. But I went and I searched for my grandparents' houses. I searched for my old house when I was a little kid. Yeah, you search all these things, and it's it's so cool. And then you see the plots that have been purchased. I bought the lobby of the LA Convention Center where we do our events. It's just so much fun. And then thinking about how that can spiral out into different levels is really crazy exciting.
Another reason I'm so excited about Prime DAO is because a lot of this stuff is building the foundation of what's to become of DAOs, right? And we're a lot still in the experimentation phase. DAOs are building really, really substantial treasuries, and now they're releasing grant programs, and there's going to be some form of DAO to DAO interactions. There has to be, right? And all these collaborations across different organizations that live on the internet. And PrimeDAO is really like spearheading that research arm, right? And finding out ways and testing the boundaries of how to collaborate across different internet organizations in a meaningful and in a decentralized way. And that has always stuck with me since their genesis, back when we started incubating and working with them in July. So definitely an exciting project. And Super World, excuse me. I always call them Superware for whatever reason. But Super World, like, look how cool this is. Like, I can go over here, right? Who's to say what I can do to this land? You got to get creative. But this land is already owned, and I can purchase it for 1 ETH, right? If we go to, let's do the Staples Center. Let's do that really quick. It's going to load.
It takes a second when your bandwidth is...
Yeah. Like, how cool is that? This is actually, no, that's not the Staples Center. Hold on.
You clicked on the wrong one when you, there it is.
Also, this whole interaction, like,
graphics are cool.
Yeah. Like, is this going for sale? Dude, crazy. Like, I'm going to buy that.
Somebody put it for sale for 200 ETH. So let's jump in right here. Okay, so some people are saying hi and stuff like that. If you're watching, feel free to ask questions. I'm going to throw this question up by Varun, and let me switch the graphic thingy. So what types of companies you're looking at investing? We're a crypto payments startup from Wyoming, early stage, looking for investment to expand. So this is a good question because it lets us talk about what we look for. So, you know, we want to invest in the best companies addressing the biggest problems at the earliest stages. And so, you know, it's never too early. So go to our website, to drapergorenholm.com, and submit your info there. But also feel free to reach out to us the way you're doing. And we're constantly looking for exactly what I just said. And again, at the earliest stage. So don't be shy, reach out, show up at our events. And, you know, we're not meeting in person quite yet, but any moment now we are. And so make sure to reach out, find mutual connections and all that. You know, I think right now, it's really across the board because we're so early that it's still there's still so many different opportunities, whether it's in NFTs or the metaverse or payments or fintech in general, right? But what I would say is that if you're doing a payment startup, you got to tell us sort of what makes you different from other products that allow crypto payments. And there's a bunch of them, and so that's what we'd want to see. But please reach out. We're looking for all types. So this is a funny comment. I just want to show this, like a few things in a row from Pravi. Pravi's a friend of ours, or at least a friend of mine that I've known for many, many years. He put, I'm enrolled in the Harvard edX Draper startup course this term. And he said, looking forward to having my homework graded by Adam. Are you involved in that, Adam? Or, I didn't think you were. Oh, okay. It's still pretty funny. But Pravi, okay, so here's something funny, just a random side thing. I posted this the other day, talking about Google Photos. I posted on Mother's Day something with my mom had like over the years, always shows me her phone with Bitcoin's price. But the day she learned about Bitcoin was in 2015. I shared some picture from that event where my mom did like a photo booth picture with Adam Draper at some local 805 startups thing where he talked about Bitcoin. And Pravi responded, he was at that event, and he responded with a bunch of pictures. So he's a super cool dude, got into crypto very early. So Adam, what should we talk about next? Should we go back to a few other portfolio companies? I could just talk about them all day. They're all like, you know, our family at this point. So
yeah, let's do it.
Also, if anybody has any specific questions, feel free. I will say something that we were talking about companies, you know, and when we were looking at the list of portfolio companies, that was interesting to me, and also something that people can consider when they are pitching to us is that a lot of the companies all fit together really well. like an ecosystem. And some do, some don't, but most of them, I can envision how the sum of the parts are sort of greater than the whole, right? And so that's something we consciously considered when we started making, investments in the Tezos ecosystem, for example. We invest in every cool company, regardless of which blockchain they're on, if we believe in it and don't think that they're doing something, crazy. But the idea is that there's so many that fit together really well. So when you see sort of Calamint, who's doing an NFT marketplace on Tezos, and they're doing really, really well, and you see Stable Tech, who offer the stable coins on the Tezos network, like USD Tez and ETH Tez and stuff like that, you start to realize, how some of these things can all fit together and create an even greater marketplace. So if you are a company that's pitching us and you see our portfolio companies and you see ways in which that you could help them or they could help you, that's a really great place to start at, because like looking at one of our portfolio companies who's doing incredibly well right now and just kicking butt, Rivet, I met them because another portfolio of a company of ours we mentioned earlier, Total, was needing a service like them. And when they switched over to Rivet and told me how much better the product became and how much money they saved, I instantly wanted to meet Rivet and talk to them and get to know them. And we ended up doing a deal with them and investing in them. So it's really important to kind of see how those things can work together, because we're very hands-on in that way. Patrick asked, anything to add about NFTs and blockchain gaming? There's so much there. I think, well, one, you saw Super World there, that's NFTs, and that's bordering on gaming, maybe not gaming yet, but it's bordering there. And there's things like Calamint, of course, is an NFT marketplace that we just invested in. And I think what's interesting is if you look at Calamint, a lot of new gaming companies and things are starting to sell their assets on Calamint, people launching products on the Tezos network. But I think blockchain gaming is really exciting. I think that actually, I would say pre-Doge getting as popular as it did, I would say that gaming is going to be the way in which most people get introduced to the blockchain, because it's a natural extension of how you play a game. In games, you buy things in game, but then you earn different digital goods, and there's even a long history of people taking those digital goods off the game or selling them on eBay or doing things like that. And I think that's where it's going to get really interesting. We're just started. Like, even though there are some games that have been around a little bit, I love Splinterlands as an example. They're not a portfolio company. They are a portfolio company of Blockchain Founders Fund, which we're really, really close friends with and partnered with, and they're just killing it. And I play Splinterlands with my kids, and it's freaking awesome. And I've also played Gods Unchained in the past and things like that. It's so much fun to play these games, but it's also fun to know that you could take the assets, throw them on OpenSea and sell them and trade them and do things like that, which is really, really cool. But I'll say Splinterlands, just randomly talking about games, has a really cool approach in that you don't need to know how to use the blockchain to participate. I sent a link to my son. He connected with his email address. He didn't have to create a crypto wallet or anything. He has one, but he's not allowed to use it without me looking over his shoulder. And so he could just go on there, interact. He could share it with his friends so they could play with them. And then if they wanted to take it to the next level, they could take their assets off the game and bring it on chain and all that. I think that's the best approach, because then you can bring in the casual gamers, but then you can suck them in and then, bring them into that world, which I think is really, really important.
I love it.
So, Adam.
Yes.
We're hitting the time limit in a minute, but
yes.
I want to hit. Let's bring up. Somebody's asking about a good crypto wallet. You know, I won't recommend a maybe a specific wallet. You know, it depends on what you want to do. I would recommend if you start to have significant amounts of money in crypto and you're brand new to the space, you know, if you start to learn about hardware wallets and stuff like that. But if you're, you know, casually participating, I know a lot of hardcore people will be mad at me for saying this, but having an account at Coinbase or Gemini, keeping it as secured as you can is probably fine. They even have like extra security levels, like on Coinbase, there's like a vault product where like they have to text you. You have to have like a 48-hour waiting period to move the crypto out of it, things like that. And that's fine. If you're getting more into it and you're starting to have significant money and you want to participate on chain, you need to get a hardware wallet and keep the majority on there. And then in that world, there aren't a ton of really, really great, easy to use options that everyone knows. There's a bunch, but the main ones are like a Ledger or a Trezor. And then, but everyone uses MetaMask or Rainbow or Trust Wallet and things like that. You know, which is great.
I used Rainbow. It's still very buggy, but it has a much better user interface than any other crypto wallet that I've seen. So props to them. MetaMask is the standard ledger, and then about it. I try to keep it simple.
Ledger is good because if you're participating on the Tezos network, you can connect to the Tezos wallets, like Galleon using it, and those are much more secure. And then when we're talking about like MetaMask or Rainbow, that's an Ethereum-based wallet, so you can't participate on Tezos with that. So you might like the version of MetaMask for Tezos network is called Temple. And a kind of MetaMask version for Zilliqa network is called ZilPay, for example. So I've got all of those set up, but you don't want to keep a majority of your funds on those because they're browser wallets, browser extensions. It's not quite as secure as the other ones. But you know, it's again, long answer is it depends, and depends what you want to do. But there you go.
Cool.
Yeah. There was something I was going to ask Adam. Whatever. So everyone watching though, something that is really crazy important to us before we end as well are the events, and I'm going to bring that back up again because the next one is happening on June 24th, and we just actually added a section to that website for people to nominate top companies and people and products in the DeFi space, so that we're going to do a sort of global DeFi award ceremony and award communities that are kicking butt right now. And so make sure to check that out. In August, we added an NFT summit for this year. Oh, Adam, you're sharing your screen. Let's bring that up. Oops. I gotta switch to that. There we go. So we added that, but we're doing an NFT awards the month after, and then we're gonna have our big event at the end of the year. So make sure you check all that stuff out because these are really, really big educational opportunities, and it's where we get our deal flow. And the crazy thing that's cool is that we make them so easy to participate in. All the virtual events are free. The in-person events are, when we get back to it, we don't even know if we will this year based on what the Los Angeles Convention Center allows us to do, will be easy to access as well, but we'll also live stream it and make it free, which means all of the deal flow that we get and all the information that we get from these events, you also get. And that's the whole point of this industry, right? Everyone gets to participate and everyone can participate with no minimum investment requirements and things like that for a lot of these things. Hopefully, right? Non-investment advice, all that fun stuff, disclaimer like we had at the beginning, but that's what's really great. So please make sure you participate. And again, the Global DeFi Awards is a chance for you to also share with us what you're looking at, what your favorites are. And so if you're a part of any communities, nominate those communities and tell us why.
Like the coolest part about this, you're always roaming crypto Twitter. You're always seeing really beautiful projects like being birthed. You're seeing uh, total value lock increasing. But like, who are the people that we owe a lot of the success to? Like, who are the projects and the people and the individuals, the teams that are to thank for that, right? So that's why we want to celebrate them. Really, we just want to give notice. We want to celebrate them and really put the power in the community's hands to determine who are these people, from the top like DeFi trailblazer to the most accomplished developer to the top UX UI designer, because that's incredibly important for mass adoption. And then we're attacking the maxis here, from the ETH maxis to the Solana maxis, Tezos maxis, BSC maxis, etc. Nominate the best blockchain or layer 2 solution. And then we have different products like lending, borrowing, saving, staking, insurance, DEXs, the list goes on and on and on. Meme coin, and most importantly, or just to make it a little bit more fun, the Lemon project of the year, and nominating the biggest scam or largest rug pull project that caught a lot of attention. So go to globaldefisummit.com/awards and go nominate, go pick, go select, and go submit. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. I think that what's cool is we opened it up to the community, right? So it's going to be, all of us voting and participating, and tell us what you think, and tell us who you think should win it, who you think should be nominated. And then once we get all the nominations, we'll then put it up to vote before the event. And we'll probably announce it at the end of the event, so people who participate in the event can watch a lot of the people who are nominated and help inform their decisions too. I think we're trying to figure out how we'll do it, but it's so much fun. Another quick thing before we go, because we started with this, we should end this. I think today is going to be the Lunar Crush 100,000 follower day. They're at 97,300 followers right now. So go share Lunar Crush, tell people about it, and all that fun stuff. It's so fun to have such a cool company in our portfolio, and it's fun when our portfolio companies hit awesome milestones. And of course, Adam, if you could bring back the portfolio companies page again, if you got it up. I shouldn't have actually removed your screen from down below. I think I did it wrong. Maybe, I don't know. But boom, add this to the screen. So go to drapergorenholm.com. Check out all the portfolio companies, because we touched on a bunch of them, but we didn't touch on all of them. We didn't really get to talk about gifts very much, or Accrue. You actually saw, if you follow this, you saw Adam interview Mohsin from Accrue, but I'll have him on soon. I think that's a huge deal where people will start to buy. I think this is going to propel real estate crowdfunding to a whole different level now that there's going to actually be sort of secondary trading and markets available and ways for everyone to participate in a meaningful way. And I think it's going to be a way, honestly, people are always asking, when is time to take money off the table? And I think that, my answer is always take your money off the table into Bitcoin and Ethereum, because that's the safe long-term where I think it's at. When you play in these crazy crypto DeFi worlds. But I think very soon my tune will change to the way you take money off the table is Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also real estate. With the way inflation and everything's going, you need to buy real shit, buy actual things. And this is a way where for a few $1,000 you can buy a portion of real estate. And you can buy many shares or just one share, and it's digitized, so you can actually take money off the table. You may be able to lend against things like that soon. I'm having lots of conversations with people in the security token space, actually being able to use those assets as collateral, which means you'll have liquidity. But you also not be holding dollars, because I don't think any of us, if we're in this space, want to hold too many dollars. We'd rather hold assets. So that's a way to do it. And so I want to create the meme somehow that's swap your gains for real estate, right? And I think that's crazy important. So, but we talked a little bit about stable tech and Tezos. Scroll up a little bit. like degens with sports betting, and that's happening on layer 2 soon. Innovesta up above them, really smart team based out of Israel. We met these women 6 years ago, I think, and they've just continued to kick ass and grow this product. So Coin Squad, you're going to hear some big things in the short term. Literally in the next few weeks. Really exciting stuff. So and Casper Labs, we didn't even mention them, but their mainnet went live this week. We'd have multiple hours just about Casper Labs and what's going on there. It's gonna be incredible. I agree with you, Jamie. The rules, what'll be interesting is to see if the rules in lending apply. In securities, technically 99% of security tokens shouldn't be an issue, but for some reason, because of governments not being very clear in what they do, everybody wants sort of no action letters getting clarification if blockchain securities are any different. I think lending should be the same. The rules are clear in lending, and if it's a security token, then it's even more clear. Where it's unclear is when it's not regulated, but with Accrue and with Onera and Symmetria and Vertalo, all these things are security token based, and securities are regulated, a little too much probably. So it should be very clear that collateral, like your house you own, can be used for lending against, and stocks that you have in your Schwab account can be used to as collateral to lend you. So security tokens should be no different. It's just, I think that the issue comes from there's no liquidity in that marketplace yet, or not a lot of liquidity in that marketplace yet. And so it's hard for banks and groups to really judge the value of something. Based on that, right? So if they don't know how much it's worth today or how much you could sell it for today, then they have to judge. That particular security token and understand, how it can be used for collateral. So it'll be fun. I think all that stuff is really coming. This last year has accelerated it, immensely, and we're gonna have some fun. Oh, here I still have their graphic from when you had them on.
Nice.
So check them out, AKRU. I'm excited about that. So guys, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe everywhere, because also I come live with our portfolio companies every week and sometimes randomly. So if you subscribe, you'll get the notification. So please join us on these things. Adam, did I miss saying anything about DGH or anything we should be talking about?
No, if you have a pitch, go to Draper Goren Holm /submit and submit your pitch, and stay golden.
All right, thanks everyone. Have an amazing weekend, and talk to you all soon. Cheers.